Now the show starts. All right. Welcome to our very first Lions of Liberty Drunken Debate. Wait, no, I got to say that again. Drunken Democratic Debate Recap. That's right. It's a triple D. That's what we're doing here. After every single Democratic debate in which all of us will obviously be drinking, because how else can you watch a Democratic debate? Some of us will hop on here. Sometimes it'll be us. Sometimes it'll be special guests. Like tomorrow night, Odie has a couple special guests. The great Remzo Martinez, Trisha Stewart. So tune in for that. That'll probably be more fun than this show, where it's just going to be four brohams for a little meat market here. But I do have my colleagues here. I have myself, first colleague, host of Lions of Liberty, Marc Claire. I also have Brian McWilliams, the host of Electric Liberty Land. Brian, how are you feeling?
After that debate, I'm fatigued, but still drunk enough to enjoy this.
Well, that's good. Speaking of fatigued, I'm assuming our East Coast people might be either more fatigued or drunker if they were able to get a head start at happy hour. Howie, what's your prognosis there? Howie Snowdon, everybody.
Well, I was pretty tired, but there was a pretty energizing part of the debate that woke me up. I was screaming at the TV.
Oh, well, I can't wait to hear about it. Let's make that a high-level teaser for later in the show. And finally, our own very special doctor, doctor of politics, J.B. Lubin. What's up? From the city of brotherly love.
What's going on, Marc?
That's a joke you only get if you physically came to PorcFest and hung out with us, and that's the way it's going to be.
But you could have gotten that joke anytime over the course of 3 to 4 hours, because we were just basically laughing at the same joke for 4 hours.
Oh, it was amazing. That's why you got to come to PorcFest. Next year you'll get our jokes. It's that simple. All right, folks. And since instead of trying to actually do a literal, line by line, candidate by candidate debate recap, I just tossed a few sort of topics of conversation out to you guys earlier. And that's how I'm going to approach it. And I'm thinking I'm going to start with the most unanswerable question that I was searching for something to jot down. It became very difficult. I do have an answer because I answer all the questions I propose for moral reasons. But the first thing I was looking for is any libertarian moment in the debate, that even just a line, a sentence, a phrase. Is there anything in there that stood out to you guys as a libertarian moment? I'll start with mine because I was really having trouble. I was hoping for some better moments from Tulsi. She had some good moments, but nothing that really blew me away, especially considering, I've heard her talk on these issues before, and I didn't feel the passion come from her. She also didn't get a ton of time to speak. But I'm actually going to give my moment to a very surprising candidate, someone who is so surprising that I didn't even know he existed until this debate started. It was actually Tim Ryan. Now, this was not an intentional libertarian moment, I have to say. This was a part of the debate when they were talking about gun control and gun violence, and he started going off about public schools and how kids today are getting bullied and how their schools are producing killers and all this stuff. And I just sat there thinking, and I believe I tweeted something to this effect: did Tim Ryan just make the case for abolishing public schools? So I'm going to give it to Tim Ryan for, I'm sure, accidentally making a case for abolishing public schools in order to help end gun violence. So, Tim Ryan, congratulations.
Marc, I think that's pretty clever, and I really like that answer, but I don't think it's in the spirit of the question.
Yeah, that's like you're cheating.
Are you serious? This is a drunken book. Yeah, all right. Well, in fairness, we're looking for a libertarian moment in a Democratic debate. The premise isn't serious, so I'm going with the premise.
I totally thought you were going to steal mine then, because it has to do with Tim Ryan too. And after this, I actually,
oh my God, is Tim Ryan going to sweep?
Interesting, because mine doesn't.
No, it's not. I had to look it up because I'm like, who the hell is this guy? So I have pictures pulled up of them, but. When he was talking about how
three of them look the same. Tim Ryan, Bill de Blasio, and Jay Inslee are the same person, essentially.
When he was talking about how we have to stay engaged in Afghanistan, we have to keep doing all this shit, and Tulsi interrupted him and is like, that's unacceptable. We need to bring the troops home, this and that. And he starts going on well, the last time we did that, the Taliban starts flying planes into our buildings. And that's when I start yelling at TV. I'm like, you dumb motherfucker. The Taliban never attacked us. I'm like, come on, Tulsi. And then she jumps in. It's like, we were attacked by Al-Qaeda. The Taliban has never attacked us. They were there long before us. We were there long after. We need to bring the troops home. And I was like, yeah.
Let me tell you why I didn't pick that moment.
It wasn't as great as a Giuliani moment, but for people in America that think the Taliban attacked us, I mean, I think that's big.
It's not even close. I didn't give that libertarian moment because it was just a fact check. It wasn't really a philosophical.
Well, that was, I was saying, one of the best things I've seen. I was like, I tweeted out, this is the thing that keeps getting retweeted and liked a million times is that statement about Tulsi owning him about the Taliban.
By the way,
Yes.
Sorry, you can finish your sentence, but that we never said what we were drinking, so you finish your thought.
Oh, well, yeah, that was important to interrupt my thought for that.
I thought it was. I've been drinking, so I thought it was.
Yeah, no. But I tweeted out. I was like, weird. It's like it's funny that Tulsi Gabbard is owning Tim Leahy or Tim Ryan on 9/11, and it's like watching him have his own 9/11 moment right here on stage before our very eyes. Like you're seeing the planes crash into Tim Ryan's head when she's like, "They didn't even attack us on 9/11."
Someone make a meme of planes crashing into Tim Ryan's head.
We need
Dan Smots.
We need a meme.
Paging Dan Smots
into his head.
We brought you to Porkfest.
And it says the Taliban did it underneath. Fucking awesome. All right, try to share it again, Mark. Anyway, I'm drinking.
I'm doing it every few minutes. Don't worry.
I was drinking a vodka martini, absolute dirty martini during the podcast or during the actual debate, but now I'm drinking delicious Tsingtao because fuck these idiots that are like, who was it? Julian Castro, who was like, he was like China, or no, it wasn't Tim Ryan again. Who was like China, they're coming to get us.
They're coming to get you. They're coming to get you. Watch China, because they're coming to get you.
In the closing statement, or what was that like our biggest problem? And he was just like China.
China's everywhere. China's in our phones. They're in your wife's vagina right now. Little slanty-eyed motherfuckers. They're everywhere.
I heard they're about to team with the Taliban to attack us.
Can you guys fact check something for me? I might have heard wrong, but was
Why
Julian...
for you? You have the same Google searches ability that we do.
My keyboard's too clicky. But did Julian Castro say we have to pay for abortions for trans women?
If he did, that's hilarious.
Because he was talking about, he's like, no, this is for all women, even trans women. They deserve the same reproductive rights. And I'm like,
oh, you're going trans? Here's your hanger.
It's never was saying like, yeah, we got to, insurance has to pay for everyone's abortion. He's like, well, trans women are women too. They need this. I'm like, what?
Castro did frame abortion. Castro framed abortion in the most original way I think I've ever heard. He called abortion reproductive justice, which I had never quite heard framed that way before.
Yeah, what the fuck does that mean?
Hey, let's murder this baby. Yeah, that's justice. I mean, I'm not taking a side in the abortion debate.
By the way, Mark, is there a Zoom meeting link you sent out that I can post in the Pride if people want to just come and watch?
Yeah, I sent it to the entire Patreon, like a responsible Patreoner, so they can go look at their Patreon. That's Yeah. Anyway, these are off-air conversations. JB, we never got to you with the most libertarian moment, and there you go. There's your mute button off.
Well, yeah, I was just fact checking that Castro thing while you guys were talking, but for me, the most libertarian moment was probably had to be the look of Cory Booker's face when Beto O'Rourke just started speaking Spanish.
Oh, that's hilarious!
Into the fucking debate, like because
is that your most libertarian moment or your most hilarious
across the fucking planet had. And it's like you're really gonna pull it out that quick. It's just like
because Cory Booker did it too.
I feel like you're crossing categories here. That sounds like a candidate for most hilarious moment.
Well, I think for me, that's as close as it got. Tulsi got a little bit when they started talking foreign policy, but it was just, the worst part is not even so much that there weren't any libertarian answers. There weren't very many answers. And that's one of the major takeaways I took from this debate is it took me like 3 minutes to remember how much I hated them. So
really?
Can you guys still hear me? Yeah,
I can still hear you. We just lost you.
You disappeared.
That's okay.
I'll figure that later. But anyway,
Mark, send me the fucking Zoom link. I think Davey Martinez
was working on it. Calm down.
Oh no.
All right, well, anyway. JB's gotten blacker. There it is.
That's really not racist. It's literally a black screen.
He's literally black screen. Oh, by the way, fact check me on this because I tweeted this out.
Things, folks. We're working.
Wait a minute, I tweeted this out, and Nick Gillespie of all people liked this tweet, so I think he agrees with it. But tell me, Amy Klobuchar, when she was talking about Iran, didn't Klobuchar?
I fact check names too.
When she was talking about Iran, didn't call uranium Iranium at one point. I swear to God, she did, or Iranium. I distinctly remember hearing it, and somebody else said, "Yes, I heard it too." Did you guys?
It's like Wakanda. It's their own special resource. It's only
it's because I ran into the powerhouse they are.
That's Iran.
I hope Trump starts using that.
Klobuchar says they've got Iranium, and that is more dangerous than uranium.
JB is actually still on. His room is completely dark, and his microphone's
muted.
Anyway, I'm sure we'll get him back at some point.
Excellent.
Until then, let's talk more about some things. All right, so really, almost all our libertarian moments were either jokes or not libertarian.
I have not gotten to tell mine yet.
Oh, I thought you already did.
No, my most libertarian moment of the debate was actually Tulsi on Iran. I loved when she said, they had that question about whether or not you should get involved with another country that's having a genocide, if the United States has an obligation to get involved in that, and her saying, no, I'm not going to go over there and tell our soldiers. I'm not going to go tell the families of soldiers from America that they died fighting someone else's war. She said, that's not our job, and that's bullshit. And I fucking thought that was very libertarian. I thought it was awesome.
Yep.
That was a great moment for her.
Okay.
I was yelling at the TV right before then, too, when some other guy kept saying yes, yes. I was yelling, no, we don't, no.
Yeah, Beto O'Rourke was like, yep, we got to get involved in all the things America needs to be involved in. We need to be tied up like a cruller in all this fucking genocide bullshit going on worldwide.
He's like, but with allies.
Yeah, but with that, yeah, let's draw in all. Let's make sure to get other people's soldiers murdered that we're friends with too, because
you guys hear me?
Yes.
Now we can hear you. We can't see.
Well, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my camera.
JB, did you close the lid on your camera?
No, it's just not turning on. So I'm gonna just have to go audio.
It looked so lovely in the beginning of the call. I
know. It's too good to be true.
Are you sure you didn't do what I just did? Because it looks similar.
Yeah, it does. But I tried that. I tried moving my hand away from the front of the camera, but that
is the lens cap down.
There's no lens cap.
Well, this is compelling audio, guys, and I'm sure the world's going to love it. But this is really a sneak peek into what most of our calls are like, but this stuff doesn't usually air. In this case, it's all going to air because I ain't editing this stuff. We're just going to...
Andrew has a good suggestion. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in?
That's what I would do.
I would hope a doctor of science would have thought of that, but,
That's what I was doing while I was on mute. What do you think I've been doing this whole time?
Did you try putting baking soda and vinegar on it?
No, I haven't.
That would be the first thing to do. All right, moving on.
Another joke 4 people will find hilarious.
Was that a record for the number of candidates speaking Spanish on stage? I counted 3.
How many spoke? Cory Booker, Beto O'Rourke, and obviously Castro.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a funnier? I mean, Castro actually surprised me. He seemed a little more charismatic than I thought, even though he looked like he was falling asleep the whole time or stoned.
So did Klobuchar.
Yeah, those two got a lot more screen time than I thought they would.
Wait, Elizabeth Warren got way less than I thought she would too, right?
The entire debate was centered around Elizabeth Warren. She by far got the most time. I don't know time-wise.
Dude,
actually.
I'm telling you.
She got
the most support. She got the most support by far, but I don't know if she got more time than other candidates.
No.
Someone look out for the time breakdown. That will be available at some point.
She's polling highest of everyone that was on it, so that must be why she got the middle spot, the first.
I feel like Booker spoke a lot and Castro.
Well, yeah, they did seat whatever, they're all standing, but they did arrange people based on support or what have you, with obviously the people that get the most in the middle. But it was clearly, there was one point where Chuck Todd, it was when they took that, the best part, my favorite part of the debate actually was the segment where all it was Chuck Todd and Rachel Maddow reintroducing the rules, and then 2 minutes of audio problems, and they're like, well, guess we're going to break because no one can hear.
Oh, it was so great. Especially it was like when they're introducing the gun control. Like, now we're going to talk about gun control, and there's just a bunch of people being like, blah, 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 blah.
I'm like, we can't hear you. We couldn't hear that.
Yeah, I wish we could hear what they were saying, and it was terrible stuff.
I think it was like, I'm going to go to the restroom or something. We played it back. We tried to pull it out, and that's the best we could do. Something.
Yeah, it was like the other hosts that were still mic'd, and then they didn't turn down their mic, and you could hear them over the question. It was pretty.
We have audio specialists that are Pride members. That's like James Schumacher. Pull the audio. See if you can separate, like in the NSI shows. Pull the audio from the overlap and see if you can filter that out so we can just hear what they were saying. Because it'd be awesome if they're like, look at these bunch of fucking tards out there talking Spanish like assholes.
Was that the funniest part of the thing? Or was it just pathetic, kind of?
Well, it was so weird when I guess he was from Univision, but it's just so odd when you're not expecting it, where it's like all of a sudden the moderator's like, and like half the people on stage are like,
oh yeah. I was surprised I'm like, okay, the candidates are speaking Spanish, pandering to Latinos, and then they got asked a question in Spanish. They're like, whoa.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know, man. Yes, see? Huevos.
So do you know who else they were pandering to? You people on the left coast. That's why I'm up so late, because they know all their voters are in California.
Yeah. Well, New York.
Well, when are they going to start? At 3 p.m. on the West Coast? This is pretty much when debates are.
Like, what's the point of pandering to a state that you know is going to vote for you anyway?
They're
Well,
not
I
very
guess
smart.
they got to
Go
win.
ahead and shoot down Howie's.
But how late is California's primary anyway? How often does it even decide who's going to be the candidate? Isn't it one of the later ones?
It's part of Super Tuesday, so it depends.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
No,
Well,
that makes sense.
The Democratic Party needs to start doing more debates where everyone is in a monster truck. How awesome would that be?
JB, did you ever tell us what you were drinking, or was I just not paying attention?
No, I didn't. It's
No,
Yard's.
yeah,
I was paying attention.
It's Yard's Golden Ale. Very tasty.
I don't know what that is. Is it an IPA?
Yards. No, it's a Golden Ale. It's a strong ale.
That was just an IPA joke.
Like a Belgian?
Something like that.
Did you tell us, Howie? I don't even remember.
No, I'm just drinking Dogfish Head 6-minute IPA.
Okay.
That's like water.
Nothing exciting.
What are you drinking, Mark?
I'm glad you're on that now. I'm glad that's
Cuba
your
Libres. I like how I asked that. I interrupted you to ask the question, then I totally dropped it and didn't ask it again. I'm drinking Cuba Libres, rum and cokes, at the suggestion of. I posted this whole poll of what I should drink during the Democratic debate, and the winner was Hemlock, which for those who don't get the reference,
They want you to poison yourself?
Yes, that's what Socrates ate to poison
Yeah,
himself.
I was gonna.
I did not take that suggestion, but I took Cuba Libres because it's in Miami, so it's a tribute to Miamians.
Mark, give me the goddamn Zoom live
I
stream link.
posted it in the Facebook.
Okay, good.
And you can also get it by going to more and hitting invite and grabbing the link that way,
tried
like
to
an
do
adult.
that. Oh, I thought that'd be specific. It says send it by email. What do I gotta send? Oh, copy Earl.
Yeah, you
I
just.
thought that was a guy's name. My name is
Copy
Earl.
Earl.
I remember that show. My name is Earl.
I'm gonna post just a whole compilation of just Brian asking me how technology works.
I never asked you the technology. It's fucking
Just
Rico.
did it twice.
asked
Did
you
it
how
twice in
technology
this one.
works.
Twice in this one. Okay. Moving on. Let's move on. What other questions did I ask you guys? So this might be difficult for another reason. The first question was difficult because there were very few, if any, libertarian moments. Now we're going to look at what was the most statist moment of the debate. I don't need to hog the spotlight. Who wants to go?
JB's camera's back on.
JB's
That means
camera's
JB
back.
How'd you get it to work?
Wait, what was the secret?
Lens cap.
The vinegar and baking soda thing?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
It was the lens cap.
It
I
was
was right.
definitely-
It was
it
the
was-
fucking lens cap.
He had to restart it.
It
There
was a
is
lens-
no lens cap, okay? There is no fucking lens
It's
cap.
something similar
What was
to a
over
lens
it
cap
then?
then.
What was over it then?
It's somehow more
I
embarrassing.
know.
than-
I could tell it was. Something was over the
Now
camera.
we have
What
to
was
know.
it,
This
JB?
show doesn't continue till we know.
What was it?
I'm just not going to derail the show any further with this nonsense. So being the bigger man
The
here.
fourth D in the
Incredible.
title is Derailed, the drunkenly derailed Democratic Debate Recap Show.
What was it? Tell us.
All right. For a very special bonus
You have
segment.
to tell us.
All right. After we're done, we're going to have a bonus segment where JB explains this whole thing to us, and then only high level Pride members will get to hear it. Moving on. Most statist moment of the debate. JB, you want to start since you have such a beautiful picture now? Also, you're still muted.
No, he can't hear us. No, his mute's on. No, he's not muted. He's just not
All right,
talking.
JB's just listening to music now. Howie, what was your most statist moment of the debate?
JB's just what? JB, can you not hear us now?
I was thinking about it. I got it. I was thinking about it.
Why don't you say I'm thinking about it instead of going silent and staring at the ground?
I think
Because
the
I was
most
in my
statist.
thinker pose. Didn't you see? That's why I got the video back. Didn't you see like Rodin's thinker? I was
No.
like,
Because
yeah.
your fist part is off camera, so I couldn't tell you were resting your chin on it.
I think
maybe,
one of the
maybe
most.
I'm trying too hard.
I think one of the most statist moments was the very first moment when they asked Elizabeth Warren for opening statement, and she was pretty much free everything you could imagine for raising taxes on everybody, just like all this government, like every way they can destroy the country. It's like that's what I'm for, and that's why I surprised it took JB so many minutes to remember he hates them because like holy shit, this would be such a nightmare.
All right. JB, good.
Well, I was gonna say it was probably during the immigration portion of the debate when Castro proposed that we institute some type of Marshall Plan on Central America to deal with the illegal immigration plan. That is by far the most statist thing I heard. Like complete, like
that's pretty good. He did talk about. He's like, let's invade and
let's invade
Venezuela and Guatemala.
That came out of nowhere.
Let's just take over the entire fucking Central America and sort their shit out. But
is that the Monroe
we really
Doctrine?
need to help immigrants. We really need to improve their lives. Help people that want to come into our country. And also, how about a 5-year Marshall Plan where we dominate the country?
Yeah, that's where the Castro comes in.
That's why I was like, there was something on the. I was like, there's something I really heard. I was like, this is the most textbook, like complete, like that's borderline totalitarian at this point. Like,
it's not really borderline.
Talking about creating vassal states. It's like. Let's create Central American vassal states with a new Marshall Plan. Though he started off good with like addressing like why are people coming here in the first place, but his direction he took it was
it's because we haven't taken over their countries, obviously.
Yeah,
like that meme.
They're so upset we haven't taken over that they're just coming here. They're like, fine, they're never going to take over.
If you're not going to conquer us, I'm going to come to you.
We'll come to you.
It's like that meme where the guy's looking at he's looking at a hot chick and his girlfriend's looking at him like, what? And it's like he's looking at Guatemala, but Puerto Rico's looking at America like, what?
We should make up a fake Democratic candidate who asks all the right questions, but then comes up with like the most crazy statist over the top answers to all the problems.
Warren.
Like he identifies all the problems, but then it's like the most crazy statist solution.
It's going to be hard to beat JB's. I had down fucking Cory Booker, man, just going after, like, Cory Booker's like, just wants to break up all the banks, all the companies, all the like, it just using government as this fucking cudgel against every business in it that exists, that's any sort of large entity. That I thought was very statist.
That's almost everybody, though.
It is almost everybody, but
some were more. There's a couple that were less.
He's for red flag laws too.
Is it? Yeah. So that I thought he was very statist in that regard. And
how about Booker's consistent mentioning of how he lives in a low-income neighborhood?
Everybody gets shot. Remind me not to walk through any of Cory Booker's neighborhoods.
Yeah,
because
seven people got shot in like the last 3 weeks or what? What did he say? Something.
Did you mention like his buddy John that got shot last week? He lives in Newark, New Jersey, which it does just
Senator
for Christ's sake.
That is a fucking shithole, man. That is one time. Quick side story: in Newark, New Jersey, I'm driving back from the Poconos to go to my buddy's house to kill some time before my flight out of Newark, and there's just gangbangers on ATVs driving against traffic through the streets of Newark on a 3-lane highway with their children, who are also on ATVs, by the way.
Dude,
like 6-year-olds on ATVs. So Newark is a fucking insane place. So I do believe that people got shot there. But is that his problem? Do something about it, Corey.
Well, I'm asking
specifically bus station there late at night.
If we're talking about like in his specific neighborhood, I'm talking about in a 5-block radius.
It ain't nothing around.
I don't think like anybody's been shot in the 5-block radius of my house in Philly, which is a murderous city to a certain extent, and I'm nobody. I'm pretty sure like he probably lives in a way nicer place than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were killed like right down the street from me.
Did you kill them?
No.
Is Cory Booker your roommate?
I buried them.
Yeah, that's very good.
It turns out one of the guy that got killed, he was also the person remember when we accidentally bombed like China's embassy somewhere? He was like,
I remember that.
He was the guy that made that mistake.
Oh, he got everybody gets got eventually.
They said it was gang related.
Mistake.
Yeah, gang related. It hit the triad.
Yeah, about that embassy. Sorry, we blew it up. I was gonna say something, but I forgot. So I'll just go on to my moment. My most statist moment doesn't stand out as being that outlandish, perhaps, or that over the top. It's not about breaking up banks or taking over large sectors of the economy. It was just a very small line that one of these guys said, but it struck me as so statist because of the way he said it and how he said it. It's when Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York, claimed he was boasting about all the things, Elizabeth Warren was talking about things she wants to do, and he came back and was talking about how all the things he did do in New York, yada, yada, yada. And then at one point he said, I gave workers in New York $15 an hour. He gave it to them. It was just the way he said that was so statist in the fact that he was acting like it was himself giving the money. But that is the most statist mentality, that some law passed through the state that he happened to sign is equivalent to him personally giving people $15 an hour. It was just the way he said it that just I immediately wrote down most statist moments.
Do you remember when they asked, I think it was Klobuchar, about gun confiscation? She's like, well, we'll offer to pay people for the guns. And to me, it's like, yeah, but the follow-up, but what if they don't want to take the money for them? They just let it go.
Well,
what happens then? What happens after that when I don't want to sell you the gun?
Well, that's what I was trying to say before I lost picture there. It's like it only took a couple of minutes before I remembered how much I hate debates, because most of what they say are non-answers. They ask specific, direct questions that presumably and realistically have direct answers, but they'll say anything but like an answer. Some questions are almost like a yes and no answer to a certain extent, and they'll find a way to not say either. And it's so frustrating to watch these things. It's like
they tried to get Beto with it.
I just spent
Beto was the first one I thought of
watching this, and I've gotten maybe 3 real answers out of like 11 people.
A lot of them dodge it. I will say I usually hate that shit, but I really liked it when Tulsi Gabbard, they asked her some question. She was like, fuck that noise. Because I know she probably was like, I'm not going to get to talking to you after this. So she was just like,
oh yeah, her first question.
Anti-war right now. I'm fucking hitting it hard. Boom, bam, bam, bam.
She brought it around though too to the question.
They didn't do opening statements. They didn't do opening statements, so she just went into. They asked her about the wage gap. Clearly, her number one issue she talks about, even though every ad she has is anti-war. Yeah. And she actually did go into like her service. She just basically gave an opening statement, but she did actually, like Howie said, at least she came back around, sort of. Yeah. Beto was trying to completely avoid this. Would you support a 70% marginal tax thing? He's like, well, I would also certainly support progressive taxation. He just would not answer the actual question. Even when she asked again, she's like, all right, well, I'll give you 10 seconds to answer again. The actual question? And he again, took 10 seconds to not actually answer it. And then it was right after him, which is, we're going to play into one of my thoughts later, but Bill de Blasio comes in. He's like, I ain't gonna fuck around with this shit. I absolutely support a 70% tax on millionaires or what the hell ever. And of course I do this. I mean, he was like a lot of other. I'll give de Blasio credit in a sense. He doesn't putz around with the answers. He gives his answer, and it's the most statist answer you've ever heard every time. Yeah. But he gives the answer.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he's someone even was willing to come out and literally say they're in favor of that. That's actually surprising. Didn't he say something anti-war too, or am I misremembering? Yeah, he was. He came out against it. He was the first person to really come out against the AUMF, and I was like, all right, I agree with Bill de Blasio on exactly one thing, and that's the one thing. Yeah, I was shocked. I missed that entirely. By the way, does Beto O'Rourke support universal health care so he can get his goddamn teeth fixed? Because I can't support a presidential candidate with teeth that fucked up. I can't do it. We saw his video at the dentist. What? Is that a thing that happened? Yeah, he posted a video at the dentist. And was the dentist just like, get out, I can't help you? This teeth are fucked. Probably. I don't like watching videos. I just scrolled by it. I do too. I hate why. I know everyone's like, you need more video content. I'm like, I fucking hate videos. If I click on an article and it turns out to be a video, flip the table. Yeah, I was like, fuck this. It's gonna be so I can scan. that is the worst scam on the internet. Here, click here to read about this thing, and then you look. It's just one sentence setting up the video you have. And a video. No. I'm at work. I can't watch videos. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm at work. I didn't use my computer. What are you trying to get me fired? I can't watch a 15-minute video on the wage gap right now. Yeah, seriously. Just give me some. Tell me it's bullshit. Move on. I love how they pretended the wage gap is real all night too, or how Russian collusion is real all night too. Yeah. It's super pretend time in the DNC. Oh my God. Well, yeah, fucking what an asshole. Bill de Blasio. They're like, for your ending statement, you're going to be like, Russia is interfering with our elections. Like, really, jackass? That's what you have this moment to make your fucking speech, and that's the shit you're going to fucking go out on? I think he's also the one that drew the applause for giving the answer. There was 2 big applause moments during the last question was or before the closing statements was, what is the greatest threat to the United States? And I think it was Jay Inslee who said Donald Trump. Looking at their pictures. Donald Trump, which got the biggest response of the whole night. Literally. That was a good answer. That was a good good answer just for knowing the base, for sure. Wasn't his global warming? I'm looking at their pictures. I thought he was global warming. That was Beto O'Rourke, I think, was global warming.
No, Inslee's the one guy who's like, that's the biggest thing.
Oh, yeah.
No one else is
you're
making
right. Inslee was global.
So who the hell said Trump? No, it was definitely Inslee that said Trump.
Was it? Because
I
that
don't think so.
Well, I wrote
that was
I wrote
the
down
best
that he did.
answer for maybe you're right. I can't remember who said was it Juan Castro or Julio Castro?
Can we all agree that Jay Inslee and Tim Ryan are basically the same guy? So we're allowed to confuse them all we
So
want.
you wanted to ask us about
Jay
who's going to be
Inslee
out.
looks like
I was just going to say that they're. I might be jumping the gun here, but they're big on my list of not making the next debate. They're basically.
I'd say
I have 5 people on my list.
Well, there's no order, so we can skip to that. I don't really care.
Inslee, Ryan, and Delaney are going to be out.
Actually, okay.
I actually
I
like
think De
Delaney.
Blasio will be out too.
I was going to say
might get through.
Delaney, I forgot was even in the debate.
I did too, but he
forgot it until you just said his name.
I had no idea.
Completely forgot.
You need all their pictures up on your screen.
I kept calling him Tan Crazy Eye Bald Man because I didn't know who the fuck he was. But
That's who that is. Okay. Yeah, that guy's gone. Like, wait, why is he even up there in the first place?
He should change all his campaign posters to Tall Crazy Eye Bald Man, and he will be right back in this race.
This is a pantomime farce. This is vaudeville. If we're living, like history repeats itself. This is all this is. This is vaudeville theater. It's absurd.
They're
all cartoon characters.
John Delaney, that he's the guy who, of course, he basically agrees with all Democratic positions. But of those people, other than like Tulsi, who we have reasons to like for certain foreign policy stances, he's the one guy that at least on a few things was like, no, we're not going to take away private insurance. That's ridiculous. Like he at least had a few points that were kind of bringing things back to reality. At least, obviously, he's still at the end of the day is for like universal health care type things, but he at least was like, no, if hospitals would go out of business if they all had to pay only the medical charge, the Medicare rates, it's only because private insurance and private people pay so much more because of the Medicare rates that these hospitals even stay in business. And he at least pointed it out, an economic reality that's there, which like no one else even cares about that.
I think he was one of like 2 candidates that actually mentioned. I think Tulsi Gabbard also pointed out, she's like, even the socialist countries have private insurance, and she didn't.
I was just mentioning that in my house. I was just saying France has private health insurance along with the public, and so does Turkey. I was talking
so
about
does Sweden, and so does everybody does.
Most of the countries they model on have private insurance.
Of course, there's no ban. They were like, "Do you favor a ban against private insurance?" It's like, what country has that? Yeah. It's like even countries with socialized medicine have private insurance on the side that you're allowed to get if you want, if you can afford it.
Literally, like Cuba is like the only one.
It was an absurd question to begin with.
And even a country with like socialized healthcare, it doesn't make them a socialist country. It's like the workers, the people don't own the means of production. It's okay. We have some intervention in this sector of the government. Obviously,
a lot of those Scandinavian countries rank higher on the economic freedom index, much higher than the United States because they have so much less regulation. So even though they do have these safety net programs, the cost that has to go into them is so much lower because they don't have the regulations we have that keep prices so high.
Yep.
Wasn't it great when they asked them all, raise your hand if you like give up your private insurance for like government health care? And like Elizabeth Warren, I think like 1 or 2 other people are the only ones that raised their hands.
Look around like they all look at each other like, are you guys?
Oh, by the way, speaking of Elizabeth Warren, can we just start with this real quick? Do you like in her closing statement, they're like, what do you what's your thing? And she's like, I just want to say that, thank you to the government because this girl got ahead through community college. It's like, didn't you fucking get ahead by lying about being a Native American to get into all these fancy colleges and then get a position teaching at Harvard because of that same lie? You fucking bitch.
In fairness, after seeing a lot of Elizabeth Warren, I don't think she lied about that. I think she's just dumb.
Well, she did lie about it.
I don't think she lied about it. No.
Well, it's a demonstrably false thing.
No, it's not.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you
knew about it or not.
No,
it's
I
not a lie if you believe it.
It's not a lie if you believe it. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, fine.
Many people have been told
their whole tried and true statement.
Many people have been told their whole lives that they have Native American blood, probably believe it, and some of those people probably put it down on their paperwork.
I don't think she believes it. That's the point I'm making.
Well, now she can't believe it. Now that she got the DNA.
I don't think she ever believed it. She is
that's right.
The whitest of white. She's the whitest woman ever. You look at her, she's like,
so is Lance Psycho. He's Native American.
All of her family, Lance is way more Native American looking.
He is. He's very tan.
Way more. She is
She was
the
born in
whitest of white.
Oklahoma.
Lance is dark.
Does she know a single person in her family history that she can trace back that was anything but stark white? No.
She's more Native American than me.
To declare, to look at yourself in the face and be like, I am the whitest fucking motherfucker on the face of the earth, and declare you're Native American on a college application, know you're fucking lying.
But wait. Look, I went to look at this specifically. She was born in Oklahoma. She's from Oklahoma, that also known as Indian Territory. How many white people do you think believe that they have Indian ancestry who are from Oklahoma who don't have any at all? Being from what Indian Territory?
Like tons.
I don't know how many Indians were. I mean, are they children of rape? Because it seems like we were shooting and raping. I don't know if we were marrying.
This is like when none of us believed JB was Jewish, and then we did the test and we figured out he was like 19% Ashkenazi Jew. Remember that?
Really?
That's that thing that happened.
I thought I was way more
Much like the Democrats, sometimes they just make shit up and see if it's.
I thought I was a lot more Welsh than I am.
Howie's been lying about his Welshness for years.
You're a lot more lush than you are. Well, you have a tattoo now, so you're pretty fucked, aren't you?
No, I am a little. I'm more
I
more
really
Welsh
should
than.
have checked the DNA test before I got this tattoo.
I am a bit Welsh.
Elizabeth Warren's probably got a full back tattoo of like the Sioux Nation.
I thought it was a full 25%. It's just much less.
I refuse to get that goddamn DNA test done because I don't want some government entity tracking me down later in life to be like, I got your DNA on file.
Yeah, just that fear has stalled me. And then sometimes, and some other days, I'm thinking like, if the government wants my DNA, like I'm not gonna really be able to stop them.
So in my case,
they'll just get some operative to brush against me, and that's the end of it. So what the fuck am I doing?
You know what? In 10 years, there's going to be skin flake collectors in every any.
Yeah, so I vacillate. I still haven't done it yet, just because I don't want my genetic material in some database. But then ultimately, I'm like, why?
In my case,
I want to know how much Ashkenazi Jew you have, so I encourage you to do it.
Maybe I will.
The army
maybe just for the show I will, and then I'll tell you what the results.
Oh, we can do a whole reveal,
Patreon reveal, and you can see it before us.
Yeah, I love it.
Before I see it, I can't even scream it.
Yeah, no, you have to not see it either. You have to.
It just says 100% black.
All the report says is the sweeter the berry. ... And you're like, oh, I guess okay.
All it says is once you go.
If it says the sweeter the berry, it'd probably be the greatest thing I've ever seen. I might have to frame it.
JB, what did you do again, JB? What'd you do? Now we have no camera again.
Well, we'll never know because you never told us the first time. You could never admit it.
What did you do?
We're gonna find out in the after party show.
And he's gone.
We're gonna steal a page of the Johnny.
I gotta get another beer.
Do an after party. All right, I guess Brian's gonna leave because he doesn't keep drinks next to him like I do. What a fool! All right, Howie. Since JB went,
I'm still here. I have audio. I keep knocking into it. I figured what it is. This is a new setup for me. I'm trying new things.
I like it.
So, this is kind of a trial run. We didn't have we never test anything on this show. This is what happens. Everything is just we're straight in all the time. This is what happens.
Guy, of course, the doctor of science wants to test everything.
Okay, exactly.
All right. Is it ironic that I made that 100% black joke and your screen is now 100% black, or is that just
maybe it's fate? Maybe it's the block universe. Who knows?
All right. Since we're giggling, why don't we talk about our funniest moments of the debate? JB already stole mine. So I'm just going to, I have a couple actually. One was Beto speaking Spanish within 3 minutes and Liz just giving him the dirtiest look of all time. And all I could, if I was Elizabeth Warren, all I'm thinking is, please don't let the moderators ask me about this because I really don't know any Spanish at all. And then another good moment, like I mentioned, I love that segment where nothing happened. There's just audio problems. And Chuck Todd's well, back to break. Hopefully we'll figure this out. You're fired. I
like how they kept trying and stopping and trying. It's like being on a conference call where like everybody talks and you're like, everybody talks again.
Well, it's basically like this show.
3 times. Well, yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'll talk. No, I'll talk. But one that has not been mentioned. There was one point when they were going to commercial break and Bill de Blasio starts talking. He's like, well, hey, I have a thing to say about this. Then they're like, nobody talks to each other. He just keeps talking and they keep talking to break. And they're like, they just go to break. And like, he keeps talking. And then the break comes. Like, no one ever stopped anyone. It was great. He tried to get
that was good.
Anybody else got funny moments we haven't mentioned yet?
Well, I already talked about the uranium moment, so that was fun.
I liked some of Klobuchar's terrible jokes, like when she's like, with it, what we call where I'm from is all foam and no beer.
Oh my God, her Elizabeth Warren, I'm like you normies moment.
She was like, wink, wink, I'm a regular person just like you.
Her gun stuff. Well, I always think about how's it going to affect my uncle up in his deer hunting stand.
Right, yeah. You know, I took it out of the dating game. The drinking game. I had a moment where I was going to include, like, will anybody use an accent to pander during this event? And I should have left it in because she did. And they also spoke Spanish.
I was surprised that Cory Booker was pandering to transvestites too, or transgender people. Sorry, wrong word.
Yeah.
What did he say to pander to them specifically?
I forget.
What a story. By the way, how about Cory Booker's crazy eyes?
He does have crazy eyes.
He has like crazy eyes.
He's like Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
you guys seen Crazy Eye Killer on
Crazy Eye Killer?
Like my funniest moment was going to be another one of those moments when Cory Booker's face just went wild. But it was when like Elizabeth Warren was saying something, but now I can't even remember what it was that she was saying.
That's why you're supposed to jot these things down in a Word document.
I just remembered how I just started laughing hysterically, so I didn't have a chance to write it down.
Yeah, it was Tim
It wasn't an awful response, but it was something Warren was talking about that like they panned out and you saw like Booker's face standing next to her, and it was just completely wild.
Hopefully someone will make a video meme of that. Video meme? Is that called a GIF? I think it's called a GIF.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not called a GIF.
Who had crazier eyes, Tim Leahy or Cory
Tim
Booker?
Leahy. Do you mean Tim Ryan?
No, Jim Leahy.
Tim Leahy doesn't exist, or he might.
Who's bald, tan?
John Delaney. Who I was hoping was funny man John Mulaney, but he wasn't.
John DeLahey. That's what I mean. Who had crazier eyes between him and Cory Booker?
Cory, definitely. I don't think his were that crazy.
I don't know, man.
I thought Tim Ryan had crazier serial killer eyes.
Tim Ryan had eyes. I tweeted this out too. Tim Ryan has the eyes like you're in the urinal, like you're at the men's room, and you're peeing and you turn and you just catch a guy's eyes, and then he doesn't break. He just keeps looking at you while you're peeing. That's Tim Ryan.
He always looked like he was just about to be attacked, like he was just bracing every time. He had this awkward look, like what's coming next? Come at me. Renzo had a pretty funny tweet. Our friend Renzo Martinez had a pretty funny tweet that it was a screenshot of Tim Ryan, and he said, "I think I finally found."
Is JB gone? JB's just gone now. Oh, now he's
here.
Is he back? He's here again.
Well, his spirit lives with us regardless of what happens to JB.
My ghost is here.
He died and has a ghost.
Jay Inslee, former gym teacher, yes or no?
Oh, I thought I tweeted that I thought he seemed like he could play like the over the top hard nosed army drill instructor in like any 80s war movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was thinking wrestling coach myself, really.
Wrestling coach, like evil wrestling coach for sure.
Yeah, my wrestling coach is pretty cool.
I like my wrestling coach too, but he does actually remind me of Jay Inslee now that I think about it.
Oh, he's a little touchy feely. The shorts a little too short. His balls hanging out the bottom.
No, I just meant more his hard nosed style.
That's what I was thinking.
I kind of something I didn't like anything he said, but there's something I liked about Jay Inslee. I'm not even sure what it was. Maybe just because he reminded me of like anybody that could have been in a 80s movie.
Just he's a doofus.
Yeah, he's just like a doofus who's like, rough around the edges and really cares about the rules.
So which of these doofuses are you most afraid is going to be president?
Well, here's the next question, which is a perfect setup, Howie. Thank you. My next topic of debate, who is the scariest candidate on stage? And I define scariest as just most potentially totalitarian. Like if they won the presidency, you would most be afraid. And for me, I think the favorite going in was Elizabeth Warren in some ways, because she has the most she's got the whole meme is she's got a plan for that. She's got a plan for everything. There's nothing she doesn't think can be government controlled. But I find myself, as the debate went along, really shifting my stance toward Bill de Blasio. He just came across to me continually as very forceful. I think he might actually do better in this primary than a lot of people gave him credit for in the beginning. He's very forceful. He's very bold in the sense that he doesn't really scuttlebutt around the answers. He says, this is what I want to do. I already did it. He always emphasizes, I already did this in New York City. I just now want to take what I've already done and apply it to the country.
I just want to ruin the country.
Because he's from New York, baby. Yes. We're direct.
He's almost the perfect, not really foil to Trump. He almost is a Trump, in the sense he's just like this loud New Yorker who just says what it's going to be.
But he's ruined New York City. People are fleeing from New York.
Ryan, you're acting like facts have any.
It's just so crazy. This guy's like, I should run. I'm the mayor of New York. I've done such a great job. I should run for president. Like, you've ruined it. Everybody hates you. The taxes are out of control. The regulations.
They don't hate him because he keeps getting elected. People like us hate him. Regular New Yorkers think he's wonderful because he has a D next to his name.
That's because they're fucking idiots. Yeah, exactly. They're idiots.
See, Marc, I think it's close between him and Warren, but I really don't think he has any chance.
De Blasio?
Yeah, I think the fact is
hell after this.
Elizabeth Warren has a really good chance of being the president. Like, I hope to God this Pocahontas thing drags her down and ruins her forever.
I don't think
honestly, like the overall vibe I got out of this debate in general is that this is the B side of the Democratic side, and I think tomorrow's debate has the people that I think the DNC is thinking that the winner is going to come out of.
Well, it seems like it was divided in this way.
Shuffle it kind of evenly, but I think out of the who's going to win is probably going to be on Thursday versus today.
I think it was divided in this way for a reason. It's very clear to me, at least from the format and structure of the debate, that this was meant to promote Warren, and
it's definitely seeded. You can see that it's seeded. It's like a tournament. You can see the seeds.
It was clearly set up to promote Warren, and she had none of the big front runners near her. No Bernie, no Biden. Maybe Beto, if you count him in that category. But most of the people seen as front runners, Booker. But even them are not seen as the same tier as a Biden and a Bernie. So
one thing I'd like to point out: none of us are Democrats, and I was speaking to my Democrat mom today, and she said she hates old men. Old white men specifically. So
that's why I stabbed your father.
That's what these Democratic voters are thinking. It's not going to be Biden or Bernie.
This is the A side.
By the way,
I'm just saying. I think it's probably going to be one of these women.
Let me point this out real quick.
I think it'll be a man that's not white or old. Or at least not both.
I agree. It'll be a woman. But let me point this out too. Did you guys see, speaking of setting up Elizabeth Warren, did you hear that fucking bullshit? It was almost like a CNN Hillary Clinton fed pre-agreed on question where goddamn Chuck Todd asked Elizabeth Warren if she has a plan for Mitch McConnell. And you could tell she knew that fucking question was coming. She played the crowd like she knew the goddamn question was coming and answered it exactly like a rehearsed fucking question that she knew was coming.
She even perked up when she got it. She's like, totally. I do have an answer for this one.
And she waited for the audience. She's like, and 1, 2,
and pause for a pause.
It's like, fuck you, bitch. Like, this is clearly pre-fucking arranged.
Meanwhile, Tim Ryan basically offered to go assassinate Mitch McConnell. He's like, I will go to Kentucky and take out Mitch McConnell.
I don't think it really is a surprise if you think about it. Like, Tulsi seemed to get a chance to answer questions that had more to do with foreign policy. I didn't that's something that I did notice. I'm not saying I don't think the questions are random. I think they did kind of who they directed certain things to.
I think Tulsi
it's scripted in a certain way.
That was a setup question. It was
this is more a stage play than it is a
There's
debate.
No other way to put that than this is a softball I'm lobbing to you.
Well, I already called this whole fucking thing vaudeville. Obviously, what were you going to say, Howie?
I was actually really surprised they didn't ask Tulsi, so why do you love Assad?
Yeah, right.
So Tulsi says here you suck Assad's balls.
It's not yet.
It says
they're not going to bring out the knife. There's still 100 fucking people in the race already. Let it die back. If she's in the last 10, maybe then they'll pull out the.
If she gets traction, they're holding some bullets.
Counting Oprah Winfrey when she jumps in.
Oh, she'll win.
I know she will. She would win if she ran for president.
She's not seriously considering.
If she actually ran, she could win easily.
She would win. She would win.
I
honestly think she'd win.
Would win.
I think Stacey Abrams
would win.
I think she would win.
Yeah,
all Democrats would 100% vote for her.
100%. But I do think Trump would still defeat her.
The left-hand side of your music class, she would win.
I think she would win.
All right, do you guys have more thoughts on the scariest or most totalitarian? Did we all agree? I
still think Cory Booker was. I think Cory Booker is way
crazy
more
eyes,
totalitarian than we think. He is fucking super aggressive on cracking down on all sorts of shit. I don't know. I think he's way more statist totalitarian than we.
And he lives in that rough neighborhood, so he's just. I can believe. I mean, I know he lives in Newark. It's not a great place, but I have a hard time believing he himself lives in a certified low-income neighborhood. I just have a problem believing that.
He does.
Maybe I'm wrong.
8 houses and build a compound.
Yeah, he maybe owns a low-income neighborhood.
Senator, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah,
I find them very hard to believe.
I remember though.
He probably lives in the nicest part of Newark.
When he was first elected, I remember he ran into his neighbor's burning house and saved them and stuff. It didn't look like a big house that he ran.
That couldn't sound like more of a made up story. Is that?
Yeah.
And live in a mansion. I'm just saying he doesn't live in Section 8 housing. Okay,
no way.
Senator.
Yeah, definitely not.
He does not live next to a crack den. That's not what happens.
Maybe he does, but I find it really hard to believe.
If he is,
so I don't believe it.
I think if he is living in a normal house, it's probably because he's like that San Francisco Asian lawmaker that was super anti-gun and was also running guns with the triad. Cory Booker's probably dealing crack on the side if he's living in a normal-looking house, just for that reason.
That's why it's for criminal justice reform.
I feel like that was racist.
Yeah.
You to suggest that.
It's not racist.
It's preemptive.
It's the same fucking shit, man. It's like a false front to look like you're a good man to people while you're fucking slinging blow.
Speaking of false fronts, how about Cory Booker railing on the pharmaceutical industry? That guy has been more of a pharmaceutical stooge than almost any senator. It was just outrageous. And I wish I had examples.
New Jersey senator.
Beto O'Rourke too wants to hold them responsible.
But he pledged just this presidential campaign to not take money, not for the senatorial campaigin, mind you.
For
the presidential campaign, he's not taking any
for these next few months. I'm gonna put a stop to that. Except for my other campaign, that one they can.
That one's still pharmaceutical open. Pharmaceutical.
You got to separate the presidential campaign from the Senate campaign. They're different.
I mean, clearly.
Things.
For that.
JB, who did you think was your most scary totalitarian in there? Did you answer that?
Scary. I don't know if I did.
I'm a good host. I don't remember who answered what. That's why it's a Drunken Debate Recap, everybody.
Scary totalitarian. I can't even say.
We're already in an hour of this.
Here's a better way to phrase it. Who, if on election day it's announced this person is president, will you most go, holy fuck, this is fucked up. This is not going to be good.
Actually, it doesn't matter who's president, really. I'm not going to.
I'm still going to Blasio. That guy scares the shit out of me.
De Blasio does kind of scare me the most, but I can't say for certain. All these guys are just kind of bland and the same. Like you're trying to make me. I feel like you're trying to make me put the Stalin out of the group of these.
Not trying to make you do anything.
It's not going to matter who is. It's not like one of these people is John Bolton or something.
I certainly don't think it. Yeah.
True. They're all.
Maybe if I think about
it won't be good.
Most
I don't know.
Make things worse.
Castro might be worse than Bolton. I've never heard Bolton advocate occupying Honduras.
The president who's most likely to make things worse is probably De Blasio. I think I can answer that a lot easier as opposed to
same thing, same question almost.
Yeah, I think De Blasio most definitely out of these candidates.
If Warren got her plans through, it would be pretty terrible.
Yeah, but I think Bill De Blasio would be more forceful in getting his plans through, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't think Warren would be able to get those plans through.
Yes, that's my analysis too.
Yeah, that's true.
So just be like, let's have a beer and talk about it.
He's much less likely to win, though, so that makes me less afraid.
I don't know anymore. I don't know what I know anymore. He is an older white guy, so that helps us.
And I used to think even as much as a month ago that Warren had no chance of winning, but now I'm not so sure. She seems to she's gaining some steam.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I thought she was done long ago, but now it's like, oh shit, maybe not.
We'll see.
If she's not done at the DNC, she's 100%
she's getting more
done.
popular with the mainstream media, so that's going to give her a boost.
She's 100%.
I hope she does more dumb drinking beer at home videos or something.
Do you guys agree? Here's the reason she's less scary to me. She has no chance against Trump if she wins. None.
Agreed.
Zero. I mean, zero. I would bet everything I own on Donald Trump in that matchup.
Here's the more important.
Are you less scared because she's a woman?
Yeah.
No, it's not even because she's a woman.
No.
I said this many episodes ago. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with her as a person. Not to do with her gender or sex or whatever you want to call it. She's just kind of boring and plain. That doesn't win you the presidency. Come on, be serious.
Here's the more important question. If she becomes president, will the Native American tribes finally accept her?
Yes.
We redid the test. 3%.
Oddly enough, it's Elizabeth.
She'll become an honorary member.
You are a member of the Crow.
Guarantee you, she would become an honorary member of that tribe.
Mm-hmm. Then she'll start immediately collecting money from all the casinos.
Like when colleges give out the honorary degrees to people.
Right, yeah.
It'll be like that.
They'll let her scalp somebody.
Cory Booker.
It's no longer practice.
Don't you roll your eyes at me when I'm giving a statement.
Can you really scalp someone with no hair? What do you hold on to?
I don't
Good
know.
point.
Take the eyebrows. Take the eyebrows like fish in college.
No, I don't think you can scalp someone with no hair.
I guess
the eyebrows.
At least it would be incredibly difficult.
I guess Trump's hair would give you the best grip out of all.
Yeah, because the hair is what you need to hold it to do the scalping.
Yeah.
From Dancing with Wolves.
It's unfortunate that I know that. But
Go from the bottom
I
up.
don't think that it would be easy on Corey. It'd be
Merkin scalping.
All right, why don't we take a little gander here at who we think is most likely to not make it to the next round of debates. There's 2 10-person debates.
I thought we
next
did
month. I think no, we didn't.
No,
well,
we
you
didn't.
casually mentioned it. We didn't officially say it. There's 2 official debates this time. I think there will probably still be 2 again next time. Eventually, they're gonna keep raising the bar and whittle it down so the people that don't pick up steam go out. So, as far as we're talking about short term here, I think a lot of these people will fizzle out long term. But short term, between now and next month, I haven't even looked at where the debates are next month yet. Who do you think?
And we're just talking the people from tonight's debate, right?
Just the people from this debate specifically. Yes, I'm going to toss my hat in the ring for. I don't hate to say it. I don't hate to see these people go. Delaney seems to have no traction, sadly, because he's not as ridiculous as the other people, and I think that's what hurts him, because the Democrat primary audience seems to want to hear, universal health care. They seem to want to hear Medicare for all. They don't want someone that's like, well, actually, if you break it down, it's actually ridiculous to take away people's private insurance. That didn't go over at all. No one gave a shit. So reasonable means you're gone. And also Tim Ryan, he feels weird to me. I don't want him there. So maybe that's influencing me. I think he's done. Jay Inslee, I'm not sure. He actually seemed to have a weird kind of charisma. Again, maybe it's just the 80s, like high school wrestling coach vibe.
He's gone.
I think he's gone long term. We're just talking about to the next debate, though. I think it's possible.
Gone.
Oh, you were saying
I think the high school wrestling coach.
I thought you were talking about Tim Ryan.
Tear down.
No, Inslee's.
Yeah. Inslee's like a wrestling coach, totally.
Next debate. Hold on.
Yeah, Inslee is the wrestling coach.
Whoa! Time out. When is the next debate?
I don't know the date, but it's
like every 2 weeks now.
Tomorrow?
Every
2 weeks.
Tomorrow night.
All right. Not a lot of
goddamn many of them. There's so many.
every month there's debates.
Every month.
Yes. At some point there will probably be not 2 but 1, but for now it's
so
like
I'm thinking at least 2 people from this list should be gone by then. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At least 2.
So, all right.
So I'm voting Delaney and Ryan.
I'm voting Inslee and Ryan. I think John Delaney, with his crazy eyes and his terrible spray tan, made an impact enough tonight. I think he had enough to say he's going to stick around at least for another one. But Inslee and Ryan are gone.
You realize we don't get to vote, right?
And honestly, I agree. And honestly, Castro, I thought was a fucking joke, but I think he'll stick around for at least.
No, he seemed to have an interesting charisma. I think he might go further than.
I think he's a little dwarf. I
He
don't
looks a
think
little
people like short
stoned. He's
people.
just got the right amount of that.
People don't like short people. Nope, people don't like short people. He's gone.
My surprise
Out.
pick for a person who spoke way more than I thought they would.
He did speak
So-
way more than I thought.
So
he
I
would.
don't know what award that is, like, most
It's a new
improved or
award.
whatever he's going to call it, but that's what he got. So
It's the guy who talked a
So I
little more
think
than I
you'll
thought
figure it
award goes to.
It's because Univision was co-hosting it. If they're not co-hosting the next debate, you're never going to hear from fucking Juan or Julio Castro, whatever the fuck his name is.
That wasn't. He's Juan or Julio. That's all Brian knows.
It starts with a J and it ends with
You
a
know what?
Castro.
I gotta be honest with you guys.
certainly
The
help
reason
it.
I've called him Castro is because I don't know which one it is either,
Yeah, I don't know fucking his first name. I think it's Julio.
and it's more fun to just call him Castro
Julian Castro.
and act like
Julian?
Castro is just in the debate.
Julian Castro. So Julio.
Julian?
My Spanish name's Javier.
Mine's Raul.
Spanish
That's
name's
his
El
name.
Dick Succo.
Mine's Juan. Juan Bernardo.
Bathroom stalls at Porkfest.
Oh, can you please start going by Juan Bernardo?
El
Lubin?
Juan
Como
Bernardo.
Blanco.
That's a good name too. I like that name.
I like it better than your French name.
All right, so who's getting eliminated, JB?
What's that? I'm probably I really want to put De Blasio on there because honestly, why the fucking?
I hope De Blasio.
I do too, but he'll stick around.
I think Delaney and Ryan are probably like I said. I didn't even remember Delaney was in this debate.
Inslee's got wrestling coach charisma.
Inslee barely even spoke. Delaney had more time than Inslee.
I don't know. I want to see the breakdown.
But he was that immemorable. At least Jay Inslee reminded me of a high school wrestling coach. So
that's like because I just said it.
But most of the times Delaney spoke, he was saying, "Can I speak? Can I speak?" And they're like, "No, no."
I'm telling you, Delaney.
We'll get to it later.
Look,
who cares why you think?
Guys, I'm in PR. I'm telling you, Delaney had more of an impact just because everybody was who the fuck is this crazy bald guy with these nutball eyes? People remember him.
I like him. I hope he makes it to the end. I hope Delaney makes it all the way.
He's gonna stick around because he's crazy bald guy with a spray tan.
But Cory Booker's gonna out crazy eye him, so no one's gonna notice.
Eventually, they're gonna.
Not at all. I think all those crazy eye memes just gave Cory like 20 points right now.
I can't wait to see the memes that are produced from.
It worked for AOC.
Howie, what about you?
While we podcast, people are out there producing memes, and I can't wait to get back on Twitter and see them.
I like how I look like a fucking person on a fat person on disability with this wrist. I fucking sprained the shit out of me.
What the fuck did you do?
Like I said,
my wrist was sprained going to Porkfest, and when I came home late from Porkfest with my heavy backpack, I went to take it off, and it re-sprained it when I rolled it off.
The late night Stapleton hand jobs, that'll do it every time.
I wasn't giving, I was getting.
Jason, come back to my room just for 5 minutes. Just 5. That's all you need.
So like I said, the first time we talked about it, Delaney, Inslee, and Ryan out.
All right, we're all pretty much on almost the same page.
we all agree there.
I think I just rationally want Inslee to stay in because I find him somewhat entertaining.
So which is Inslee Ryan split, but everyone pretty much thinks Delaney's out of there.
No, Brian's.
I'll be right.
Guy.
$5 says Delaney's in, and the other two are gone. At least Delaney's
Inslee Ryan.
Maybe not the other two are gone, but
I don't know how many.
$5 says Delaney makes it through.
We agree. This is the bottom two.
I'll bet an IPA on it. I'll get you a nice
I'll
double
give you an
IPA.
IPA. I don't want that dog shit. Bring me a Yingling. I want a Casey Yingling.
Well, hey, just bet any beer. That seems reasonable.
Why don't we wrap this up with who would you vote for if you had to vote for one of these people?
Look at Howie taking.
We all know who we're gonna say. What's the point of this question?
Yeah, Marc wrote it down, so I'm saying it.
I did write it down.
Ready?
I even wrote yes at gunpoint.
2, 3. Tulsi Gal.
Amy Klobuchar.
Done. What? Klobuchar? No.
I'm just kidding.
Part of me, I wrote down next to Tulsi, and Tulsi didn't really have much of an impact tonight. She wasn't ignored, but she didn't get much time. But, at least she was the only one saying a couple reasonable things about foreign policy. And foreign policy is where people die. And if she wants less people dying and I have to vote for someone, she gets it. I wish I was more inspired by Tulsi. I think that's my issue with Tulsi. She's not even the Ron Paul, the squeaky voice that's really loud about it. She's more of the calm, if you let me talk, I'll give you a nice
sound.
She's
from Hawaii, man.
Yeah.
And
she's
from Texas.
She's terrible on a whole lot of things, but I like to remind people she's not only good on war. She's good on the war on drugs, too, and she's good on stopping the NSA spying. And these are all three really big issues.
Yeah,
that's why she gets the vote. But my second place was Delaney, just because.
Yeah, Delaney,
he seemed less insane. That's all.
Delaney was great.
Still insane. I wouldn't say great. I would just say less insane.
We're talking on a fucking bell curve here, dude.
Well, Maryland produces.
With this Iran shit going on, I would pick Tulsi.
Have you guys seen The Wire? Do you really want someone from Maryland running the country?
No. Not with that argument.
And also Tulsi I just loved how she mind raped Tim Ryan. This is the best.
And she's pretty.
She is pretty. She didn't look great tonight, but she looked better in person.
No, it wasn't her best night.
Wasn't her best night. By the way, I cannot fucking believe that there was no talk at all of reparations. How is this possible?
That was shocking, and that was the big point in your drunken what's it called?
Dude, that's all. They just had hearings. It was like the thing to talk about. How the fuck did they not bring it up at all?
I think
they didn't want to see them do an actual shucking jive on the stage while they dodged that question in front of the entire American public. Because that's what they did for less hot button issues.
Yeah.
For fucking 2.5 hours. That I felt like my life was wasted. Like I think they're gonna ask that. Maybe they'll wait for tomorrow and make build up, but I doubt it. I doubt
they won't bring it up tomorrow. If they didn't bring it up tonight, they will not bring it up.
I I think Dave Smith said this. I think it's accurate. Like Trump's, I'm going to build the wall on the southern border. Like this is the thing that's never, ever going to happen, but that people hear it and vote for you. They're like, oh yeah, reparations. It's never going to happen. It's just like the wall.
How about it be if Trump out of nowhere? Like the Democrats go through this whole process and Trump's like, I've decided reparations for all the blacks. Sorry about the apartment thing I did. All right, here we go. And then he just, all the black people vote for Trump and he just wins in a landslide.
What if he told Congress, oh, pay reparations out of my own money if you build the wall?
Whoa. That would be quite a play.
What a negotiator. The art of the deal.
All right. Anyone else got anything to say? Because I'm cooked.
Yeah.
But I'm 3 hours ahead of these guys, so I'm pretty gassed.
One more day at work this week, I'm exhausted and wish I was dead.
All right, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed
pretty much every day.
Our very first Drunken Democratic Debate Recap. We'll be doing these for every single debate. It will not always be the same crew. Tomorrow, you're going to get an entirely different set of Lions of Liberty. We are posting these on Patreon immediately for our supporters in the Lions of Liberty Pride, but this will be part of our public feed as well. So this will be part of Thursday's feed. And then because we don't want to interfere with Felony Friday, don't want to supersede them, the Thursday night debate recap will air on Saturday. So a little weekend fun for you guys. Unless you're in the Pride, then you get it ASAP. I'll have this up, we'll see, hopefully 10 minutes or so. Maybe 20. I got to get another drink. But it's been a good times, guys. Doing this makes watching the debates fun, I got to say, because they're not fun. They're really not fun things to watch. It helps that I'm getting drunk alone and watching them. That's a big help. And tweeting helps a lot. But really, these are not things that I would think I would ever watch if I didn't have these other responsibilities. So thanks, podcasting.
Look at my eyes.
And that's the end of the show. Look at Brian saying, look at my eyes.